So next, we need to control our imagination. What does that mean? Hey, welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. Here's a place where I share the things I've learned in life, and now you are my mission. So the last episode, we talked about what happens when your life is destroyed or you're betrayed. And the 3 action steps there, or the 3 things that were healthy to do, I shared with you, were to make a list. There's the first one. It was make a list of all the things you're good at. And then figure out the skills that you need to navigate the situation. Positive self-talk in the mirror, and then also doing all the small chores around your house. These 3 things put together make things start to become more solid in your life, even if on a very small scale. Now, this episode I have 3 more things that will help you through this. First off, I want you to make a list of all the people in your life right now and make 2 categories: the people that are for me, the people that are against me. And then there may be people that fall in the middle. It's very important to cut out the people that are against you. Maybe distance yourself from the people in the middle, because they may be fair weather friends or drinking buddies or people that will lead you to do things that are not going to be helpful for you navigating this difficult situation. And then next, the people that are for you. Keep those people and make sure you don't ruin those relationships, because they will be needed. Cutting people out, though, that's the most crucial part of this situation, because some people are gossiping about you. Some people are going to insult you. Some people are just going to talk trash to your face and make you feel terrible. And you're already in a rough situation, so why do you want to feel terrible? Why do you want these people around you? So now's the time. Make that list, figure out who's who, and then you don't have to be rude about it, but you can just stop contacting them, and your navigation of this situation will become far easier. So, next after that, cutting people out of your life, it is very important to decide who we want to be. So I want you to imagine 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, and imagine what you want your life to look like. Then, and with that, I want you to focus mainly on the relationships, not stuff like a big truck and a big boat, blah, blah, blah. But what do you want your relationships to look like? What do you want your life trajectory to be? And then figure out, okay, what type of person does it take to get there? And ask yourself, honestly, am I that type of person? And you take that a step further and write down, what are the qualities of the person that it will take to get me on this trajectory in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? And when you write down those qualities, then you must start embodying those qualities. It is not easy. This is personal change. But when you start embodying those qualities, whatever they may be, you start towards that trajectory. And if who you are currently is on this trajectory away from what you want, then you're kind of living in discord, or not discord, but disharmony internally, because you want this, but you're doing this. So it's like your soul's like, let's do this, and then your actions are this, and it's just not lined up. You're not in alignment. I wasn't in alignment. Sometimes I'm not still. Then lastly, a huge player in this game is not bumping the microphone. No, it's controlling your mind. A lot of times what will happen is when everything collapses, our mind is in chaos. We don't know what to do next. And we start remembering the past, the main event that led us here. And we play it over and over and over. And we must control how we access those memories. And if it's popping up over and over again, we're starting to experience those emotions again. We're experiencing how we felt. And then we're just reliving it over and over. And we're solidifying that pathway that accesses that memory, so we get stuck in the past. And when you're accessing this memory, there's a code in there of identity. And that identity of when it initially happened is then imposed on your current identity. So then you get put back into that feeling of like, this is who I am, or this is how I feel. And it's like, you may try to get out of that, then you remember it, you get that. Let's say that identity is like a cloak of like being a victim, being hurt, and being weak. And every time you access that memory, you're putting the cloak back on. But every time you put that cloak on, it's the longer that you'll stay in that identity. So it's important to file that memory away. Here is a very simple technique. When that memory comes up, imagine that you're in a library, and then imagine that memory is maybe on a big white screen on the wall, and that your job is to write the story down of that memory on this blank book. It doesn't have to be a lot of words. It could be A, B, and C happened. I felt this way. I didn't like it. And you close the book and put it away. The next time that memory comes up, imagine you're back in your library. Imagine you're watching it on that little screen. And then you get your pen and paper and you write down on the paper again, and you get the book out and you add a little bit more to the story, a little bit more detail. What you're doing is you're taking all that coding of the visual, of the auditory, and the identity, and you're making it this little bitty code. And then you're closing it and you're putting it away. So now you're training your brain and this neural pathway. When this memory comes up, I see it in writing, and then the memory gets put away. And you gain control of that memory. And a key factor here is when you are writing in that book, writing that story that you're watching, is you need to feel and imagine what it's like to be totally healed, and you're about 20, 30 years down the road, and you're like, man, I remember this story. I'm going to write this story out. It's like you're watching a highlight reel from your life. It's like a low light reel maybe. But you're writing it down, because let's say it's the apocalypse and the DVD's breaking down, and it's like, this is the only technology now, pen and paper, and you got to write it down to save this because you want to tell your story. But that identity is somebody that's a survivor, that's healed, and that's going to share your story with other people. So now when this memory is accessed, it gets put into words, and then the identity cloak that you put on is one that is healed, and then there's one that's serving others through helping them heal. So now when that memory comes up, you start putting on a different identity. Instead of the victim identity, you start having a healed identity. And the longer you start doing this process, the longer you'll wear that cloak of being healed in that identity, if you get that metaphor. Okay, so controlling your memories. That's a great way to do it. So next, we need to control our imagination. What does that mean? Okay, so let's say everything is collapsed and things are going crazy and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And you're worried about it. You're scared about it. You're imagining all these different scenarios. Well, here's the 3 things I want you to do in that scenario when you're imagining the worst case. Imagine the best case. Imagine the next day, somebody brings you like a silver tray with $1 trillion, and you get your dream house. All your relationships are healed. All your physical elements are healed. And the rest of your life is smooth sailing. Like the perfect imagination. Then your brain sees that and is like, that's not real, and dismisses it. Then you go to the other end of the spectrum. Say, tomorrow, whatever's going to happen, there's going to be an asteroid hit the Earth. Then there's going to be an earthquake. The house is going to burn down. And then, like, all of a sudden, these ravenous robot wolves are going to attack me, and things are going to go into the apocalypse. Your brain sees that, and it's like, nope, that's not real. That's not going to happen. Then you imagine this third scenario of things are just going to go logically. Things are going to go, most likely, A, B, C, and D will happen. Nothing crazy awesome is going to happen. Nothing crazy bad. But here's the logical scenario. And when you're in control of your brain, you can start imagining and role-playing of like, okay, I'm going to show up the best I can tomorrow. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be on my A game. And I'm going to expect things just to kind of go down the middle and be very reasonable. What happens is when you start thinking of crazy situations in the future, what you want to do is go ahead, if it's a bad situation you're imagining and you're making it worse, make it as horrible as possible. But then also make the perfect situation And eventually your brain is automatically going to start getting in the middle of like, okay, here's actually what's probably going to happen. And then you start gaining control of your imagination, because we don't know what the future holds. So if we are pretending that it's going to be horrible, we're just building ourselves up for like nothing, and we're getting a lot of anxiety from our brain, our imagination. So if we can take control of these things, we start navigating situations far better than we would have otherwise. Because a lot of times our brains run wild, and that's a big issue. It really is, but this is a biomechanical processing unit. And when you have control of it, over it, your life changes completely. So we got controlling our imagination, the outcomes. We got deciding what character you want to be. That's a really good one. And then we have controlling our past memories and start changing the way our brain files that away. And if you try these 3 techniques, you are going to find your navigation of these stressful situations start to become much easier, and you're able to pass through them in a much better manner. Okay, I'm done. Roadhouse, spiritual hard.